You ever look at someone you love and just know something's off? Not big, not dramatic. Just a half-second pause between smiles. A laugh that doesn't reach their eyes. Oh no, I'm fine, that echoes a little too hollow. That's where I was, standing at the foot of our driveway, sunscreen half rubbed into my arms, luggage in the back seat, and Ashley, my wife of 9 years, loading snacks into the cooler like nothing was wrong. Got the Dramamine? I asked, trying to keep it casual. She didn't look up. Top zipper of the blue bag. Right. The blue bag. The one she used for work trips. Funny, used to be mine, before she claimed it fit her laptop better. I checked the zipper. The pills were there, tucked beside a half-used stick of lip balm and a receipt from some cafe I'd never heard of. Coffee bar 9, it said. 2 lattes. 1 muffin. 1 croissant. 2 people. Ashley had been acting, different for months now. Not textbook cheating behavior, no lipstick on collars, no secret phone calls in the bathroom. Just subtle things. Quiet things. Like how she suddenly hated the beach. The woman who used to beg me for oceanfront weekends now groaned when I booked this trip. It'll be crowded, she said. Touristy. And yet, she'd packed 3 bikinis. I counted. Still, I ignored it. That's what guys like me do. We pack the car, check the tire pressure, tell ourselves we're imagining it. Because the truth, well, the truth can break you. We hit the road by 7 a.m. Ashley in the passenger seat, scrolling her phone like it owed her money. Me behind the wheel, pretending the silence wasn't louder than the highway hum. Did you text your sister? She asked suddenly. I still on the screen. Yeah. Told her we'll be there by noon. Good. She said she wants to take us to that new seafood place. I nodded, shifting lanes. You ever been? Nope, she said, too quickly. Her phone buzzed. She tilted it away from me, not suspiciously, just habitually. I didn't say anything. Just drove. 10 more miles of forced conversation and polite nothingness. Eventually, she dozed off, sunglasses still on, mouth slightly open. I watched her for a moment at a red light. The sun glinted off her wedding ring. Same one I slid on her finger 9 years ago in a tiny church in Asheville, back when love felt simple and forever meant forever. She stirred and mumbled, "Love you," in that half-asleep voice. And for a second, I believed it. Just for a second. By the time we hit the beach house, the sun was overhead and my sister Kelly had already popped open the Prosecco. Ashley hugged her like she hadn't nearly dodged the trip 4 times with work emergencies. Kelly handed me a beer, gave me that look, "You holding up okay?" And I gave her a nod back. The universal brother speak for let's not talk about this now. The beach house was one of those Airbnbs with too much wicker and a framed anchor in every room. The kind of place that tried to convince you a seashell was a decorating strategy. But it had a porch, an ocean view, and just enough square footage to pretend you weren't dodging your wife's phone habits. Ashley seemed energized now, laughing, pouring drinks, showing Kelly some new playlists she made for the trip. She's glowing, Kelly whispered to me later that afternoon as we set up chairs on the sand. Yeah, I muttered. She's something. That first day was easy. Suspiciously easy. We laid out towels, passed around sunscreen, and watched the waves roll in. Kelly's kids made sandcastles. Ashley pretended not to notice me watching her. I caught her texting again when she thought I was asleep in the hammock. She was sitting on the porch, back to me, phone low in her lap. The kind of posture you develop when your messages aren't meant to be read by the guy paying the mortgage. The next day brought more of the same. Morning walks, beach reading, family dinners where Ashley would lean just a little too far back in her seat when she laughed, like she was posing for someone who wasn't there. Or maybe, someone who was. Around the 3rd night, I noticed she started wearing perfume after her afternoon naps. You going somewhere? I asked, half joking. She smiled without teeth. Can't a woman smell nice for her husband? Sure, she could, but she hadn't done that in 6 months. Kelly and her husband went out that evening to grab ice cream with the kids. Ashley said she had a headache, stayed behind. I offered to stick around. No, she said too fast. You should go. The kids will be disappointed. So I went. Or rather, I left. But I didn't go far. I drove 3 blocks. Parked. Sat with the windows down, just listening to the hum of a neighborhood that wasn't mine. Then I went back. Quietly. And as I stepped up to the porch, I heard it. The unmistakable sound of her laugh, soft, flirtatious. Not the laugh she used with me. No, this was different. Then a male voice. Muffled. Deep. I stood there, just out of sight. My hand on the doorknob. My heart thudding like a war drum made of wet cement. And I waited. I didn't go in. Not yet. Because part of me still wanted to believe that voice was from the TV. That the second glass on the porch table wasn't for someone else. That my wife hadn't invited a ghost into our marriage and given it a seat. But deep down, I already knew. The next morning, Ashley was all smiles over pancakes. She flipped chocolate chips into batter like nothing had happened. Like she hadn't laughed with a stranger on the porch while I stood in the shadows, memorizing the sound of betrayal. "You sleep okay?" she asked, chewing a bite like she hadn't just swallowed my trust the night before. "Yeah," I lied. Slept like a baby. The day played out in blurry slow motion. I followed her with my eyes more than my feet. Watching. Waiting. And then came the moment. It happened around 4 p.m., when she said she was going for a walk to clear her head. Headache again. She always had those when the truth got too close. "Want me to come?" I asked. She shook her head. "No, I just need air." She left wearing that coral sundress I hadn't seen in years. The one I'd bought her in Maui, back when she still held my hand in public without checking who was watching. I counted to 10. Then I followed. I kept back, far enough that I was just another flip-flop tourist in sunglasses. She didn't look over her shoulder. She didn't pause. She didn't hesitate. And I watched as she turned down the side trail past the dunes, the one that curved behind the snack shack, and led to the back patio of a cheap little inn with 2 rusted beach cruisers out front and a faded vacancy sign blinking like it knew what I was about to see. She walked up to room 206. Knocked. The door opened. A man stood there. Tan. Sleeveless shirt. That laid-back, protein shake confidence that screamed midlife crisis with abs. She smiled. He smiled. And then, without so much as a pause, she stepped inside and closed the door behind her. No glance back. No hesitation. Just like that. I stood there, my feet planted in the sand like roots, watching the door. Room 206. Just numbers, but suddenly they meant everything. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stood there, my heart trying to keep pace with the hurricane building inside my ribs. And that's when it hit me. She didn't just cheat on me. She didn't just break the rules of our marriage. She invited me to the scene of the crime. Brought me to paradise so she could visit her private hell in peace. Told me it was a family trip, when really, I was just there to babysit the cover story. I turned around, walked back to the beach house, and poured myself a drink. A strong one. I didn't tell Kelly. I didn't confront Ashley when she came back smelling like coconut lotion and excuses. Not yet. Because now I had something I didn't have before. Leverage. The thing about betrayal is, it doesn't punch you in the face. No. It whispers. It seeps. It clings to the edges of your thoughts like wet sand you can't shake out of your shoes. And the worst part? You still have to sit through dinner pretending the world hasn't shifted under your feet. Ashley walked back into the house an hour after stepping into room 206 like she'd been collecting seashells. Hair tousled just enough to pass as windswept, not hand-swept. That coral dress had a new wrinkle near the hip. Not obvious. Just enough for me to notice. And she smiled at me. That same tired, practiced smile she used when we had guests and she didn't want to fight. "Kids are at the arcade," Kelly said from the kitchen. "Thought you two might want a little alone time." Ashley chuckled. "Alone time? What's that?" I didn't answer. I just stared at her and sipped my drink like it owed me answers. She didn't flinch. That's when I knew this wasn't new. Not a mistake. Not a lapse in judgment. No moment of weakness. This was choreography. Rehearsed. Repeated. Perfected. I waited until Kelly took the kids for ice cream before I cornered Ashley on the porch. The sun was setting, turning the sky gold and orange, nature's idea of irony. "You see anyone on your walk?" I asked, leaning on the railing. She blinked. Just once. "No, why?" "No reason," I said, keeping my voice casual. "Just curious." She looked at me. I mean, really looked. Like she was searching for something in my expression. "Well, just me and my audiobook," she said with a half-smile. "Some thriller about a husband who thinks his wife's cheating." She laughed like it was a coincidence. I laughed, too. Not because it was funny. Because if I didn't laugh, I'd tell her what I knew, and I wasn't ready for that. Not yet. Instead, I played dumb. Let her live in her illusion a little longer. Because people show their true face when they think the curtain's still drawn. That night, she slept like a stone. I didn't. I sat in the living room scrolling through her social media. Nothing obvious. Ashley was careful. No tagged photos. No check-ins. But I wasn't looking for evidence. I was looking for patterns. Every girl's night, she'd posted for the last 2 months. Every one of them landed on a Tuesday or Thursday, the same 2 days I had my late meetings. Like clockwork. And one post from her colleague dinner last week, she was wearing the same coral dress. Funny, she told me it was too tight now. I clicked on the photo, zoomed in. Same necklace, same lighting, same guy's reflection in the wine glass next to her plate. The caption read, "Sometimes you need to unwind with the Team Yellow Heart." Yeah, some team. I closed the app and looked out the window. She used to tell me everything, even the boring stuff. How her coworker microwaved fish again. How her boss forgot to mute himself on a Zoom call and farted mid-presentation. Now, silence. You can tell a lot from what someone stops sharing. The next morning, I made eggs and toast. Set 2 plates down like nothing was wrong. Ashley wandered in wearing my old college t-shirt like she hadn't stepped out of another man's bed less than 12 hours ago. "Smells good," she said, yawning. "Hope you're hungry," I replied. She sat down, started eating. No guilt, no tension. She was good. Too good. "Want to go into town today?" she asked between bites. I saw a cute little boutique. Thought I'd grab something for Kelly. "Sure," I said, sipping my coffee. "We can walk." She nodded. Perfect. Perfect. Everything with her was perfect lately. The lie had become a lifestyle. After breakfast, I slipped outside to make a call. Not to a friend. Not to a lawyer. To my cousin Luke. Luke owns a PI firm 2 towns over. Not the trench coat and magnifying glass type. More like khakis, a Canon camera, and a stack of non-disclosure agreements. "You busy?" I asked. "Depends. You hiring me or asking for family discount?" "Both." "What's going on, Logan?" "My wife's here on vacation. I think she brought company." "Oof. All right. Give me the address and the license plate if you've got it." I gave him the inn's name. Told him about room 206. About the guy. Gave what little I knew. Luke didn't ask questions. Just said, "I'll have eyes there in an hour." "You want photos?" "I want the truth." "You sure?" "No," I admitted. "But get them anyway." By the time Ashley and I were strolling through overpriced shops that smelled like sea salt and linen spray, I had a text waiting. "Luke, got him. Room 206. Same guy. She left 20 minutes ago." Attached were 3 photos. One of her stepping out of the inn, smoothing down her dress. One of the guy leaning on the doorframe, shirtless, watching her go. And one of them kissing. Soft. Familiar. Not a fling. Something deeper. I stood there, staring at my phone in the middle of a store that sold ceramic turtles and driftwood signs that said, "Life's better at the beach." Ashley turned and smiled. "You okay?" "Yeah, I lied. Just thinking." She nodded and looped her arm through mine. And just like that, I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. She'd already written the first half of this story. I was going to write the ending. My way. There's something eerie about knowing more than the person across from you. Like you're in a play, and they're still reading from Act 1 while you're already flipping the pages of the finale. That's where I was. With Ashley, every step, every smile, every "babe, can you grab my sunglasses?" felt like theater. And I played my part. The doting, clueless husband on vacation. What a role. Should have gotten an Emmy for the performance. We spent the next 2 days in sync, at least from the outside. Family dinners with Kelly and the kids. Morning coffee runs. Beach walks. I even let her take a picture of us at sunset, cheek to cheek. She posted it with the caption, "Love this man to the moon crescent moon." To the moon, huh? Guess that's where you go when you're looking for a signal. Or hiding from one. That same evening, she went to get ice cream alone. Said she needed to clear her head. And I let her. Luke sent another text an hour later. "She's back at 206. Same guy. This time they're not even trying to hide it." I didn't reply. Didn't need to. Instead, I walked out to the porch, sat in the dark, and just listened. There's a strange peace that comes with acceptance. The kind where your stomach doesn't drop anymore. Your hands don't shake. Your heart doesn't lurch at the sight of a missed call or a mystery text. You just exist. But it's not numbness. It's clarity. She came back at 10:43 p.m. hair damp, smelling like mint soap and something that wasn't mine. I watched her kick off her sandals and smile like a cat full of canary. "You're up late," she said. "Couldn't sleep." She walked over and sat on the porch swing beside me. No guilt. No apology. "Long line at the ice cream place," she added casually. "Uh-huh," I said. Silence. Then, out of nowhere, she tilted her head and asked, "You ever think we're just faking it?" That caught me off guard. Faking what? This. Us. She looked at the sky, not me. Maybe we've just been going through the motions. Playing house. Trying to recapture something that's been gone for years. I stayed quiet. Let her keep digging. I mean, don't get me wrong, she continued. I love you. I do. But love doesn't always mean fulfillment, you know? I nodded slowly. So you're unfulfilled? She looked at me then. Really looked. Her eyes were glossy but not wet. Like she was trying to cry without giving herself the satisfaction. I don't know what I am, she whispered. I just know something's missing. I took a breath. Is he what's missing? Her face froze. Just for a second. Then she recovered. Who? You know who? The silence after that was thick enough to chill. She stood up. I'm going to bed. And just like that, she walked inside. Didn't ask me how I knew. Didn't deny it. Just left. The next day, she acted like nothing happened. Made pancakes. Kissed my cheek. Even asked if I wanted to go paddleboarding. I'm good, I said. Think I'll take a walk. Alone? She asked. Yeah. Thought I'd clear my head. That was the first time I saw fear crack through her mask. Brief. Subtle. But it was there. Her head tilted just slightly, like a dog hearing a sound it didn't understand. You okay? She asked. Never better. I left without waiting for a response. Down the beach. Past the rocks. Around the corner to a bench overlooking the cove. Luke met me there, sunglasses on, camera bag slung across his chest. She's bold, he said, flipping through the images. And the guy? Real confident. Might even be married himself. No ring, but he's got the tan line. Great, I muttered. She's cheating with someone who's cheating, too. Birds of a feather. I scrolled through the photos. One of her leaning out of the room window, laughing. One of them rubbing sunscreen on her shoulders like he'd done it 1,000 times. I'm not gonna lie to you, Luke said. I've done a lot of jobs like this. Some folks beg for this kind of clarity. They think catching them in the act will give them closure. Usually doesn't. I kept looking. Then stopped on one photo, Ashley sitting on the bed in that coral dress, legs crossed, looking out the window like she didn't have a care in the world. That was the one. I saved it. This isn't for closure, I said. It's for control. Luke nodded. So what's the move? I stood. Brushed the sand off my hands. I've got 2 days left in this house. Let her think I still don't know. Let her enjoy the sunsets and the seafood. And when we get back, Luke raised an eyebrow. Yeah, that's when I return the favor. You mean? No violence, I said, cutting him off. But she's not walking away clean. Ashley spent the rest of the trip trying to play both sides of the lie. Sweet one moment, distant the next. I let her. I smiled when she smiled. I laughed at her jokes. But beneath it all, I was rewriting the script. She'd cheated on a vacation I planned, in a house I paid for, under a sky I pointed out to her when she said she was cold, and I wrapped my arm around her. She thought she was playing chess, but I was the one setting up the checkmate. And when we got home, that's when the board flips. The ride back from the beach was quiet. Not the good kind of quiet. Not the post-vacation haze where you're full of salt air and lazy satisfaction. This was tactical silence. Both of us pretending we were still two people who hadn't ripped the seams wide open. Ashley played her usual role. Head leaned against the passenger window. One AirPod in. Thumbing through her phone like she was deleting guilt one scroll at a time. We didn't fight. We didn't speak much either. Every now and then, she'd glance at me like she was trying to measure how much I knew. That's the funny thing about cheaters. They think you can't tell. That you're oblivious until they confess. But it's not the affair that stings. It's how stupid they assume you are. We got home late, around 9:30 p.m. The driveway felt colder than usual. I unloaded the bags. She offered to help, but I told her to go ahead inside. She didn't argue. Didn't even pretend to protest. Inside, the house was just like we'd left it, except it wasn't. Same furniture, same walls, same scent. But everything felt off. Like someone had rotated the world 3 degrees to the left. Ashley disappeared into the bedroom, claiming she was just going to take a quick shower. That was fine. I had work to do. I pulled out the manila folder from the desk drawer in my home office, the one I'd started the night after room 206. Inside were Luke's photos. Printed. Labeled. Dated. Text message screenshots. GPS pings. Even a copy of the hotel bill from our family vacation. I added one last photo. The one she posted at sunset, me, smiling like a man still in the dark. I looked at that version of myself for a long time. Then I stapled it to the top of the file. By the time Ashley walked into the kitchen in her robe, towel drying her hair, I was sipping a beer by the window. Tomorrow's Monday, she said, almost cautiously. You going into the office or working from home? I'll go in, I replied, not looking at her. She nodded. Okay. I've got meetings all day. Probably won't be home until late. Sure, I said. Take your time. That got a pause out of her. The kind where she almost turned to look at me almost. But she didn't. Just mumbled, good night, and walked away. I stayed up until 2 a.m. reading. Not because I was invested in the book, but because I knew she wasn't sleeping either. Every now and then I'd hear her shift in bed, phone buzz quietly, then silence. She was texting him. I didn't need proof. She wasn't even hiding it anymore. I slept in the guest room. She didn't ask why. The next few days passed like fog, routine but not real. She went to work. I went to work. We passed each other in the hallway like coworkers in a too-small office. By Thursday night, she sat across from me at dinner, pushing pasta around her plate. You've been quiet, she said. I wiped my mouth with a napkin. So have you. She looked up. Is something going on? I met her eyes. You tell me. Her fork froze. Just for a second. I don't know what you mean. I leaned back in my chair. You ever hear the phrase mutual destruction? She blinked. What? It's when both people in a conflict have enough ammo to ruin the other. So they either walk away clean or burn everything down together. Ashley set her fork down slowly. Logan, what is this? I stood up, walked to the kitchen counter, pulled the manila folder from the drawer and placed it in front of her. Your new boyfriend's name is Derek, right? I said calmly. Tall, likes linen shirts, drives a Jeep, room 206. Her face turned to stone. She didn't open the folder, didn't even touch it. Instead, she said the thing all cheaters say when the lights finally come on. This isn't what you think. No, I said. Then what is it? She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. I didn't mean for it to happen, she muttered. Of course not. It just happened, like flat tires and bad weather. I was lonely, she whispered. I nodded slowly. And you thought the cure for that was a secret boyfriend. I needed to feel something. And now you're going to feel consequences. That's when her eyes changed. Sad to cold. Just like that. Like a light switch. You don't have proof I did anything physical. I smiled. You're right. That's why I included receipts. Photos. GPS data. The works. Her jaw clenched. Why would you do that? Because I wanted to give you a choice. A choice. Option 1, I said, pacing calmly. We do this civilly. You leave. I keep the house. You get your freedom. No lawyers. No courtroom drama. Just signatures. And option 2, she asked, arms crossed. I send the folder to your boss, your parents, and Derek's wife. She flinched. I've never hit you, I added. I never cheated. I was never cruel. But I am done playing the fool. Silence. Then, you'd ruin me? No, I said, picking up my beer. You did that yourself. I'm just writing the footnotes. Ashley didn't speak, didn't scream, didn't cry. She just stood, picked up the folder, and walked out of the room. I didn't follow. Didn't need to. Because by then, I'd already won. Ashley didn't come home that night. She took the folder, her purse, and the keys to her car, and just left. No text. No call. No dramatic exit speech. I wish I could say I stayed up waiting, but I didn't. I watched a documentary about deep-sea shipwrecks, ate leftover chicken, and slept like a rock in the guest room. She came back the next morning with sunglasses on and her mouth tight. No bags. No apology. Just walked into the kitchen, poured a cup of coffee, and said, "Can we talk?" I didn't even look up. We've done enough talking. You ambushed me. No. You just finally heard the echo. She sat down across from me. I'll move out. That's the smartest thing you've said in a while. She nodded, slowly. You won't really send that file, will you? I shrugged. You're not my concern anymore. That rattled her more than any threat. Because people like Ashley, people who play with fire, never expect to be left behind in the ashes. And that's exactly what I did. She moved out on Sunday. Took her clothes, her makeup, a few sentimental trinkets from the bedroom. Left the wedding album, the framed vacation photos, and her share of the kitchenware. I watched her load her things into the back seat without saying a word. When she came back inside for the last time, she stood at the front door like she was about to say something meaningful. But I beat her to it. Whatever you were going to say, I said, save it for him. She flinched. I just wanted to say. I didn't want to hurt you. You just didn't want to get caught. I replied. No tears. No hugging. No long, lingering goodbyes. She walked out, and the door clicked shut like punctuation at the end of a sentence I never wanted to read again. Now, here's the part Ashley didn't know. Derek, her secret beach boyfriend, was married. With 2 kids. A mortgage. A life he was already screwing up long before she entered the chat. And thanks to Luke, I had her full texting history. I knew where they met, when it started, and exactly how often. It wasn't just at the beach. This had been going on for months. Dates. Dinners. Overnights when she claimed girls' night. And the kicker? Ashley had no idea I knew his wife's name. So I made a call. A quiet, polite, devastating call. Hi, is this Melissa Woods? My name is Logan. I think you, and I need to talk, about room 206. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just went very, very still. That's how you know the truth landed. By the time the sun went down, Derek's wife had his bags packed and waiting on their front lawn. And I hadn't even touched the rest of the folder. Because I didn't need to. Ashley's affair didn't just collapse. It cratered. It's been 8 months since the beach trip. The divorce was clean, by court standards. Messy by emotional ones. Ashley fought for the house. Lost. Tried to guilt me into splitting my 401k. Failed. I let her keep the espresso machine. That felt like a fair trade. She called me once in January. Said she missed us. That she'd made mistakes. I didn't respond. Because the man she cheated with had cheated on her less than 2 months after their romantic rendezvous fizzled into reality. Turns out, she was the vacation, not the destination. Poetic. People always ask me if I'm angry. The truth? I'm not. I'm awake. I see clearer now. I smile more. I sleep better. I laugh without wondering who's lying to my face. I don't check phones. I don't wonder where someone is at 11:47 p.m. on a Thursday night. Because I chose peace. Not revenge. Not war. Just clarity. That's the real ending. She broke something. And I built something stronger from the pieces. Myself.